Let's see what you got. The bride, who graduated from a prominent music college and looked down on me as a high school graduate, compelled me to play the piano at my brother's wedding. I had never once told her I could play the piano, so she was definitely messing with me. Furthermore, the bride mentioned betraying my brother, Jack, in my ear. To be honest, I have a real boyfriend besides Jack. And the bride was smiling at me as I trembled in front of the piano. But after this, she would turn pale. I am Eleanor Johnson, and I'm 32 years old. I am unmarried and currently working as a staff member at a wedding hall. I have only one brother in my family. My parents divorced when I was in high school. A few years later, my mother passed away in an accident. I haven't been able to contact my biological father in a long time, and he never provided me with any kind of life support. Needless to say, I was forced to live a hard life. So instead of attending college, I went to work, and my younger brother and I assisted each other to make ends meet. Jack, my younger brother, is 3 years younger than me and is sharp and intelligent. Jack was excused from university tuition under the special student program and was able to complete 4 years of study. After that, he got a job at a well-known company. He has also left results at work. I was quite proud of Jack, who was getting married. According to my brother, the bride was the daughter of a company executive and was quite beautiful, had a pleasant demeanor, and was family-orientated. Furthermore, she had graduated from a prestigious music institution and was already offering private piano lessons, so she was flawless. One day on a holiday, a meeting was held between the two families. The bride and her parents, as well as me and my brother, were present. Nice to meet you. My name is Grace Miller. I had seen a picture of her previously, but she was far more attractive and pleasant in person. Grace then asked me for some advice. I heard that you work at a wedding hall. Is it possible for us to hold our wedding there? Of course. We'd be delighted to help you. I was delighted to be able to support my brother's big day. On the other hand, the parents were happy and smiling, discussing the kind of person their daughter was.
Eleanor had been playing the piano since she was a little girl, and she had won many prizes in competitions.
Grace's father appeared to be quite proud of her and proceeded to list her accomplishments so far. However, Grace's face seemed to tighten when her father brought up the issue of a certain girl.
My daughter would get decent results, but the same girl would always win first place, which was very frustrating. Let's see, what was the girl's name?
Let's not talk about that. Grace appeared to have a bad recall and immediately shifted the subject. After that, the conversation between the two families went on without incident. An hour later, I had to leave the room because my work phone suddenly rang. Then, I saw Grace coming back from the restroom, so I spoke to her. I appreciate everything you did for us today. It was a fantastic day. However, Grace's attitude changed from before, and she showed an unexpected reaction. How could you attend today's meeting as a high school graduate? Grace hurriedly returned to the room, leaving me behind. I stood there, unable to respond to Grace because of her abrupt transformation. I couldn't understand what was going on. Then, I finished my work call and returned to my seat, still puzzled. Grace had then strangely returned to her former pleasant self. "Eleanor, would you like something to drink?" With that, Grace kindly handed me the drink list. I must have misheard her. I didn't want to complicate matters, so I didn't tell anyone what had just happened, and the meeting came to a close. However, I quickly discovered that it was not a misunderstanding at all. After Grace and I began meeting alone to plan the wedding ceremony, she had always looked down on me. "You don't resemble Jack, who is very attractive." She brought it up every time we met, as though she was implying that I was unattractive in an indirect way. Grace has been sarcastic to me because I'm only a high school graduate and unmarried. "If you have time to assist others in getting married, why don't you worry about yourself?" "Thanks for the advice." "Oh, but you're only a high school graduate, so you're not very bright. And you lack etiquette because you were reared by a single mother. I don't think you'll be able to find a partner." And Grace has always made fun of me by boasting about her piano skills. "I'm the one who always won the top prize in piano competitions. I'm not like you, who only finished high school and went to work." Grace kept saying these things to me, and my heart gradually grew weary. Grace was supposed to be my brother's wife, but I couldn't seem to like her. But Grace was the one my brother chose, and their relationship appeared to be working well. I decided to keep Grace inking a secret from my brother because I was the only one who had to put up with it. Months passed by, and it was the day of the wedding. Grace was the daughter of an executive, and many company employees were present. I had not made another reservation for the day and treated them as a VIP because of the high number of participants and the fact that all employees were accepted to show up. It was probably normal for me to take the day off work because I was the groom's sister. However, I wanted to be a part of my brother's special day, even if it was from behind the scenes. As a result, I was permitted to work as a staff member until shortly before the ceremony began. There were only a few minutes left before the ceremony was to begin. Grace's two female friends came in as I was touching up my makeup in the dressing room. I wanted to say hello to them, but I had to finish my makeup and change quickly. Besides, they were engaged in a lively conversation, so I worked quietly on my hair and cosmetics without interrupting them. The next moment, however, things took an unexpected turn. The girls appeared to believe that no one was listening and began chatting about Grace. "Hey, you know what? I heard that Grace is dating another guy." "I've heard that. He is a guy from the nightclub, right? She said she was getting married today in order to keep up appearances." "If that's the case, I feel sorry for the bridegroom, who has no idea." My mind went blank and I panicked. Oh my God, I have to stop this marriage right now. But I couldn't let them cancel the ceremony without proof. The wedding ceremony began, leaving me with a bewildered feeling. Guests provided entertainment as the ceremony neared its midpoint. Grace's friends were all music college graduates. They played beautiful tones one after another on the instruments they had brought. Suddenly, Grace picked up the microphone and said, "Now, my sister-in-law is going to make a presentation on the piano." All eyes in the hall were on me at once. I panicked because she never told me about it. I never told Grace I could play the piano, so this came as a surprise. And this was not part of the plan. Grace was supposed to play the piano in the second half of the wedding, so it wasn't ready yet. Hearing Grace's words, the ceremony hall personnel began frantically arranging the piano. While I was too surprised to move from the spot, Grace approached me at the family table and yanked my arm with all her power. "Come this way." Grace was apparently going to take me to the piano by force. "Hey, you didn't tell me anything about this." While Grace was dragging me away, I murmured quietly to her because other guests were seeing us. Then Grace started blurting out in a hushed voice, "When I look at you, I can't help but get angry, so all I want to do is annoy you." "Is that the only reason you are treating me like this?" "Yeah, that's right." When I saw Grace smile at me, I realized how much I despised her. Grace gradually showed her genuine self to me as I was by her side. "The ceremony would be ruined if you refuse to perform here. What do you suppose will happen if I cry in front of my father? The marriage would be annulled and Jack would be fired from his job. Do you really want your beloved brother to get fired? How can I really want to marry such a boring man? To be honest, I have another boyfriend. I only married him because my parents were too annoying." Grace's confession convinced me that what the girl said in the bathroom was true. While I was thinking about that, the piano was set up. "Let's see what you got." As Grace told me to, I sat down on the round seat. My body started shivering and I could feel myself breathing heavily. "I'm wondering if it was too much to ask of someone who had just graduated from high school like you. Perhaps you've never even touched a piano." I looked up at Grace, who was smiling triumphantly. The audience was becoming increasingly noisy, and a staff member I knew who couldn't take looking at me approached me. "Are you feeling all right?" she asked me. Grace, on the other hand, had a contented smile on the corner of her mouth. "I thought you could at least play the piano if you were Jack's sister, but it seems I was mistaken. I'm sorry." Grace apologized mockingly. However, a single phrase from my brother changed everything. "Don't you know my sister?" "What?" I suddenly broke the silence by playing the piano. I played "Dream of Love." It was a standard song at weddings. The venue, which had been noisy until then, quieted down with the sound of the piano. When I finished, I was greeted with thunderous applause. My colleagues had not expected me to be able to play the piano so well. Some of them were so moved that they were in tears. In contrast, Grace's face was bright red and she was biting her lips. "You were so nervous and trembling earlier. How could you play so well?" "I didn't tell you, but I studied at a music college overseas." Grace appeared astonished and staggered backward when I announced the university's name. By the way, I wasn't trembling because I was nervous. I was quivering with excitement because I was so delighted to be playing the piano for the first time in a long time. That's the college I wanted to go to but couldn't. How could a person like you from a single mother's family attend it? I had been taking piano lessons since I was a little girl, and I happened to have a few people around me who supported me. However, when my mother died, I had to drop out of music school in order to come home and help my brother attend school. The reason I had never told Grace that I could play the piano was so as not to ruin her reputation. It seems that my brother had not told Grace that I had piano experience. Grace, on the other hand, who was determined to outdo me, refused to acknowledge my past. What's the point if you didn't graduate? One of Grace's friends noticed my face and appeared to recall something. Is she, by chance, Eleanor Garcia? Oh, if that's the case, she's so incredible that we can't even begin to compete. That woman had attended my music college for a brief time and seemed to remember me, who was well known at the college. When it comes to Miss Garcia from the United States, she was well known back then for being a brilliant pianist. Grace then heard the last name Garcia and verified it to me with a bewildered expression. Are you by any chance that Eleanor Garcia who won all the awards in the competition? I don't know if I won all the awards, but it's true that I won many of them. Yes, that's right. I was the girl who always stood in front of Grace at every competition. Eleanor Garcia was my name before my parents divorced. While Grace was stunned, the MC came up to me for a comment. It was a wonderful performance. Would you like to say something to the microphone? So I decided that now was my chance to take revenge on Grace, and I revealed what I knew. Please listen, everyone. Grace is having an affair. Everyone was astonished by my sudden confession. Grace's parents opened their mouth wide and couldn't say anything. No, that's not true. She's just talking nonsense. Grace tried desperately to deny it, but I quickly connected my phone to the speaker and played a recording in the hall. To be honest, I have another boyfriend. I only married him because my parents were too annoying. It was what Grace had whispered in my ear earlier. Knowing Grace's true nature, I had my mobile phone voice recorder ready to capture something on her. Grace's face turned pale as soon as her true nature was revealed.
You disgraceful bastard!
Grace's father yelled at her in public, and all the hell broke loose. I'm sorry, Papa. I'm sorry.
I'll never forgive you. You are no longer my daughter.
Then, as if to push her away, Jack also accused Grace.
How dare you deceive me?
I only love you.
How can I believe that? I'm not marrying you.
Please reconsider it. But my brother was furious.
Apologize to my sister too.
He pushed her away. Grace raced to me in desperation, not knowing what to do. Please forgive me for what I did. Then everyone will forgive me too. Even at this point, Grace still seemed to be thinking only of herself. There was no apology to me. You've been insulting me for so long, and now you expect me to forgive you? You take far too many things for granted. How will I ever be able to live on my own if Papa and Jack abandon me? Grace told me that the man with whom she was having an affair was a spendthrift and that she couldn't live on his money alone. I don't care about your life. Anyway, I'm not going to forgive you. Grace, finally in a tight spot, bowed her head to me. I apologize for everything I've done. I'm sorry. Tears were spilling from her eyes. Her makeup has fallen off and her eyes were dark. It was a pitiful sight to see, but when I thought about what Grace had done to me, I could never forgive her. I feel nothing for you. You insulted me for graduating from high school only and trampled on my darling little brother's heart. Oh, please. Never show your face in front of us again. Grace broke down in tears on the spot and was taken out of the ceremony hall by her relatives. Grace's parents then apologized to the attendees and the wedding was abruptly cancelled. After the attendees left, my brother and I had a discussion.
I'm really sorry if I made you feel bad, because I fell for that woman.
I'll be fine. Are you going to be okay?
I need to sort out my feelings right now, but I'll get back on my feet soon.
I believed his words and decided to slowly watch over my brother. Later, my brother and Grace officially broke off their engagement. Jack received money for compensation. Grace's parents cut Grace off and kicked her out of the house. Grace had been able to manage her piano lessons with the support of her parents before this tragedy, but that was no longer possible. She has begun to work part-time, but due to her inability, she is now barely able to make ends meet. The man she was dating also dumped her. The guy she was having an affair with was after Grace's money, and he dumped her as soon as he lost it. Jack, on the other hand, has since devoted himself to his work and was soon promoted as a result. He was very happy that his efforts had paid off. As for me, I have been asked to play the piano more and more often at wedding ceremonies, and I am spending busy days. I hope to bring excitement to many people with my piano performance.